does Buddhism intersect with science as we think of science?
Well, I mean, if you look at the history of the development of Buddhist thought in India, classical India, the kind of separation that you notice in the Western context between science, philosophy, and religion has never really occurred. So when you look at a tradition like Buddhism, it's very problematic to classify as being one of the religious traditions, and its engagement with science is somehow an engagement between religion and science in the Western sense. Because in Buddhism, you have certain aspects of the tradition which are very scientific, where empirical evidence is the most important component of a mode of inquiry. You also have aspects of the tradition which are clearly religious in the sense of pertaining more to ultimate questions of our existence, meaning, purpose, and so on. And then there are aspects of the tradition which are very philosophical, where kind of argumentation and reasoning is the primary mode of inquiry. So it's difficult to say that engagement between Buddhism and science in the modern sense is an engagement between religion and science, because Buddhism is in a sense a complete worldview which contains scientific elements, philosophical elements, and religious elements.
And that's why you sometimes get answers when Westerners ask people with Eastern religions, "We just found this out," and you get the answer, "We already knew that." Sometimes.
Yes.
Or so it seems. The Dalai Lama is very interested in science, and especially in neurology. Like we've been hearing about Buddhists related with the Dalai Lama
Sure.
being in neurology labs
Sure.
with things attached to their heads, trying to see what a state of nirvana looks like in the brain. Tell us about this.
Well, actually, there is a sort of to some extent, an opportunistic element in the motivation of Buddhist, thinkers like the Dalai Lama engaging with science, because history of Buddhism has always, had development of the Buddhist ideas in relation to its engagement with other non-Buddhist traditions in India. So classical India was a very intellectually rich place where Buddhist and non-Buddhist, like the Vedantic schools and Nyayikas, others were all kind of interacting with each other. So what is happening now for the Buddhist is, in some sense, the continuation of the same story. Now the kind of the partner in the dialogue is science, because the scientific worldview is one of the most influential and dominant worldview. And since Buddhism prizes empiricism very highly, and empirical evidence and reason triumphs spiritual authority, so in many aspects of our understanding of reality, in a sense, what the Buddhist tradition is doing is filling the blanks, as it were, by getting the facts from science.